by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
Today, survivors of the Florida high school shooting rampage take their demands for tighter gun laws directly to lawmakers. I'm Hannah Dova with all the details ahead.
I'm Morgan Davies, and coming up, we have more information about the shooting that happened in Ennis.
Good morning, Southwest Montana, 6:31 on this Wednesday. Chet Lehman, Missy O'Malley, Matt Elwood with you here. Matt, burr, but not as bad as it has been.
It's not as burr as yesterday.
Not as burr.
It's
less burr.
I'm going to try to work that into my forecast at some time.
The most burr.
Today's not the most burr. Yesterday was the most burr for us. I don't know. Temperature-wise, it is very cold. 11 below in Butte, 6 below. You're a bad influence on me, Chet Lehman. 23 below, the current wind chill in Butte this morning. We are going to see the temperatures at least try to warm up into the low to mid-teens this afternoon. But we've got that Arctic air still in place, likely for the rest of the work week. We'll talk about any potential snow we have in the forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Matt Burr. 6:31 here on your Wednesday. Our top local story for you, a shooting in Ennis has left a lot of unanswered questions. MTN's Morgan Davies spoke with the Madison County Sheriff to find out more about the incident and their investigation.
2 men were taken to the hospital after an altercation broke out here at the Sportsman Lodge.
And when they got there, they found 2 males, a female. One of the males had been shot.
A 48-year-old man from Madison County was transported to Bozeman Deaconess for a gunshot wound to the chest. The other man involved, a 57-year-old of McAllister, was transported to Billings for multiple serious injuries.
Still under investigation. We were still looking to try to get cooperation out of the 2 individuals who went to the hospital. They're not really in the position of talking too much. Their injuries are more important right now.
The female that was involved has been arrested due to interference with the investigation. She is not a suspect for the shooting.
And so unfortunately that happened, but the 2 males are the ones we're looking at as far as why the altercation occurred between those 2. So right now what we're doing is we're collecting as much information as we can, evidence we're doing. We served search warrants on the motel rooms last night, and we have vehicles that we have left to search.
This is a developing story, and we will continue to bring you more information as it becomes available. Reporting in Ennis, Morgan Davies, MTN News.
Now, the sheriff requests if you have any information on the incident, you're asked to contact the Madison County Sheriff's Office. Their contact information is on our website.
Closer to home, a Butte man is in jail this morning in connection with a shooting and wounding of another man in Butte early Sunday morning. Police say 31-year-old Gary Maddox fired at least 3 shots at another man during an argument in the area of Dakota and Front Street. One shot hit the 38-year-old victim in the ankle. He was treated and released from St. James Healthcare. Police arrested Maddox after they found him hiding in some tires behind the Safeway grocery store. He now faces several felony charges.
And survivors of last week's Florida school shooting plan to hold a rally today in the state capitol to try to pressure lawmakers into enacting tougher gun control measures.
That's right. Hundreds of students and parents arrived in Tallahassee yesterday, and in Washington, a small sign of movement on the gun violence front. CBS's Hannah Doba is in New York this morning with the details.
Cheers for the students from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School as their buses pulled into the state capitol last night. Today, those students will meet with lawmakers in Tallahassee to push for tighter gun control to help prevent mass shootings like the one that claimed 17 lives at their school last week.
We're going to keep talking. We're going to keep pushing until something is done because people are dying and this can't happen anymore.
3 buses with about 100 students, many coming straight from funerals for their fallen classmates, made the 7-hour journey.
I honestly think background checks and an age requirement.
In one bus, as students were strategizing talking points for legislators, organizers of the March for Our Lives protest noticed they had reached a fundraising milestone for their March 24th event.
We hit $1 million on our GoFundMe for March for Our Lives.
And though the students learned mid-trip that the Florida State House had just rejected a move to consider a bill that would have banned assault rifles, there was some evidence out of Washington their calls for change are being heard.
I signed a memorandum directing the Attorney General to propose regulations to ban all devices that turn legal weapons into machine guns.
The so-called bump stocks were used in the Las Vegas shooting, but not Florida. The president also tweeted, quote, "Whether we are Republican or Democrat, we must now focus on strengthening background checks." Hannah Doba, CBS News.
Now, by the way, President Trump will be holding a listening session today on school safety. According to Press Secretary Sarah Sanders, families and teachers from the Parkland, Sandy Hook, and Columbine communities are expected to attend. That leads nicely into this. Recent national events have put the issue of school safety into the spotlight, and that includes here in Montana. Darby High School student accused of making threat social media posts about shooting students says he's sorry for scaring people, says he regrets his actions.
18-year-old McLean Kaiser appeared in Ravalli Justice Court yesterday, charged with 2 felonies for his threats. Ravalli County prosecutors have charged Kaiser with 1 felony count of intimidation and 1 felony count of assault with a weapon after a number of witnesses reported conversations and social media posts where he made direct threats towards the school and referenced the deadly Florida shooting last week.
Now, according to court documents, Kaiser made statements to about 10 students early last week that they should wear certain colors to avoid being shot at the school. Then, after the Florida school shooting last week, he referenced the shooting very specifically in a social media post saying, quote, "Coming soon to Darby," end quote.
Now, he also admitted to the statements that he made in the hallway at the school to investigators, but said that he viewed his activity as a joke. Now, in court, Judge Jim Bailey said that he considered Kaiser a serious threat to the community and set his bail at $50,000. If he makes bail, he is prohibited from going to school property or making any contact with people at that school. Now, his parents were also in the courtroom, and they agreed to remove firearms from their home. Kaiser's next court appearance is expected to be sometime in March.
Now, Billings State Senator Margie McDonald wants to close a loophole in Montana law to help keep guns out of the hands of dangerous people. McDonald's proposed bill would ensure Montana's background check system includes everyone who's prohibited under federal law from buying firearms due to serious mental illness. Currently, Montana law does not share information about involuntary mental commitments with the National Instant Criminal Background Check System. McDonald's proposal would close that loophole without, she believes, infringing on Second Amendment rights.
I do think Montanans can get behind this. It doesn't infringe on, I think, what are strongly held values in Montana around the Second Amendment. This is about firearms safety and about community safety and about school safety and about information that I think anyone would agree should be available to law enforcement and to protect our communities.
By the way, McDonald's proposed bill would also include an appeals process and provide a way to give gun ownership rights back to people whose mental health has been restored. 2 federal requirements that current Montana law does not provide.
And crews at Yellowstone National Park have begun rounding up bison as a part of its interagency bison management plan for 2018. So far, 96 bison have been captured. The goal is to take between 600 and 900 animals. Some will be held for quarantine, others will be slaughtered, and others will be used for Native American tribal hunts. The operation will continue through next month, and right now the bison herd at Yellowstone is about 4,800. According to a press release from the park, the state of Montana has a limited tolerance for bison that naturally migrate onto state land. And the Montana Land Board has given its approval for the state to purchase more than 16,000 acres of farmland and pasture land in eastern Montana. Now, board members voted 4-1 in favor for the $11 million sale of Angela Farm in Rosebud County. It will be one of the largest purchases made under the state's land banking program. The program encourages the state to sell off small parcels of land and buy other property that can produce more revenue. Leaders with the Montana Department of Natural Resources and Conservation plan to lease the Angela Farm to local growers and to open it for hunting. Now, new revenue will go towards trusts to fund public schools and universities. It is time for a quick break. Here's a quick little sneak peek of what's coming up on Montana This Morning.
Ladies figure skating is underway at the Olympics. I'm Dana Jacobson. We'll tell you where the Americans stand after the short program.
Good morning. Ahead on CBS This Morning, we're with the Florida school shooting survivors as they prepare to march on the state capitol demanding stricter gun laws. And Dr. John LaPook looks into a new treatment that could help the millions of children who suffer from peanut allergies. See you at 7.